Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're going to talk about Star Wars. That's right. May 4th has kind of been a play on words for quite a while, a couple of years of May the 4th be with you, May the 4th, May the 4th. I know everybody's kind of like, that's kind of a corny joke, but it's really important. One of the things that I have seen that's really come out in Star Wars in many different ways. And of course, I kind of grew up in the Star Wars generation of people just like loving it, seeing it so many times and enjoying the story of it, and kind of like the futuristic kind of what is the future going to look like for us? What is it going to look like so many years down the road? But that's kind of the fun, quirky part about it. But what's really interesting is kind of when you really look at the storyline and you look at it, it really is past life for a lot of us. And that's kind of like the interesting, quirky part, is that the Star Wars kind of battles and going on, that's really been in our past lives for a lot of us, for a lot of reasons, really connect with Star Wars and really love it and really get into it. And the ones that are kind of like crazy Star Wars people, usually they have it in 2 or 3 lifetimes. So it's kind of like, this is like, feels like home to me. This feels like where I need to be. And I think that's the interesting part. When people make movies, usually they're kind of spurred on by, not even if they don't even know it, past lives for them, or things that they've worked out in other lifetimes, or kind of like the scary part of other lifetimes, kind of like, let me make this movie scary because that was scary to me in a previous life. And that's kind of like the interesting, cool part. So many of the stories that are out today are people's past lives. And that's really interesting because it kind of gives us a deep insight into their energy and how do they deal with things in their past life. And you can kind of see that come out. And kind of like, how did the heroine or the hero kind of make it through the picture? Did they live? Did they die? Did this happen? Did that happen? And that's kind of like the fun, quirky part about things, is that as they're working through it on the screen, it's kind of like you can tell how that person felt about it, and how they feel about that character, not who's playing it now, but who played that character in their past life. And so that can be really fun and interesting. Past lives really do affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I was talking to a client today, and she has come to the realization of so many things that have gone wrong in her life this time stems in from a past life. And so we've been doing some past life regressions with her, and some working on kind of getting some of that coming out and going on. And a lot of it kind of just reminds me, I'm like, okay, that kind of reminds me of this movie, or this kind of reminds me of that movie. And that's the really fun, quirky part, is there are so many movies that are past life fueled. It's really, really interesting. And I love that part because you have past lives in planets that are further ahead of us. And then you have sometimes there are past lives that are behind us, kind of like compared to our timeline here on Earth. So that is really fun and interesting. Past lives is something a lot of people have a lot of questions about. A lot of people don't quite understand past lives, and I think it's because not everybody can see past lives. I'm just one of those quirky people that can, and so that makes it really interesting to see those connections. When I first meet someone, I kind of always tell people, like, here's the person, and then around them are kind of like their angels and guides, and then around that is kind of like their ghosts, their parents that have passed, or grandparents that have passed, or family members that have passed. So kind of like that's the group. And then outwards of there, you'll have like little streams kind of coming out, and that's really connecting them to their past lives. Kind of, who was I in a past life? How did I work through this? Did I not work through everything I was supposed to? Did I have issues with someone? And sometimes you really know, kind of the sensitive part is when you meet someone in this current life and you just really don't like them for whatever reason. You're like, oh my gosh, I just really don't like that person. Usually it stems from a past life. That soul in a past life let you down, or did not live up to their obligations in that lifetime. So let's pull some angel cards. There we go. Pull some angel cards and hopefully get us a little bit deeper insight into Star Wars and past lives. Let's go into this. This is the first one popping up for us. Power. When we understand our past lives, when we get that message of past lives, when we understand this is where this comes in from, it really does make us feel powerful. Like, oh my gosh, now I can fix or change or amend this in some way and make things better, or kind of work through things differently. Kind of like it's almost like reliving that day over and over again. It's like, oh, now I get an opportunity to kind of think about this differently, or I get an opportunity to look at this differently than I have in the past. Definitely. Balance. A lot of people try to come into this life and they really try to balance past lives. Kind of like, I didn't get that done in that life, so let me bring it into this life so I can try better or do better. I'll do that on top of everything else that I'm doing in this life. And the thing is, though, this life is already packed. You already got like a whole bunch of stuff scheduled, and a lot of things that you're going to be working on, a lot of things that you're going to be going through. But let me let you know, hey, that's really the past life stuff can be really overwhelming, and the stuff that really can set us off in some areas of like, I thought this was going to be easier. I thought this was, and it's like you didn't do well in that life with it, and now you brought it into this life and you thought you were going to do better with it. Not that you can't, but it's one of those, like, you really need to dedicate your time to that. You really need to dedicate some energy to that. And then so many times, like, people just kind of keep piling things up and they never really get an opportunity to work through everything that they were supposed to. Manifestation, one of my favorite cards. But we've kind of manifested the stuff in our past life, and we've manifested the stuff in this life. And it's like, when are we going to learn to work through the stuff? When something keeps coming up over and over and over again, work through it. Don't just hang on to it. Work through it. Continually work through it. Constantly work through that energy. Don't just keep pushing it aside. Don't keep, oh, I'll deal with it later. It's like, you did that last time. We need to deal with it. We need to work through this time so that we can see this in a better light. Support. We always have the support of our angels and guides, but past lives can be something that they really help us with. It can be something that they really are aware. It's kind of like we've taken on more than what we were supposed to, or we've cleared out a lot of stuff that we weren't going to get to, but now we have. That's the cool part about this, is being able to work through this quicker, faster, easier, so we can create the best life we possibly can. That is something that most of us want. We want that calm, cool, collected life. Yet at the same time, we kind of keep piling on extra stuff for us to do or take care of. And then we never get a chance to sit down and relax and enjoy what we've done. Definitely. I thank you so much for joining me today. And I know that we'll be talking again soon.